In today's video, I will be sharing with you my best tips for goth makeup for beginners. Hello Darklings and welcome to the Notoriously Morbid YouTube channel. My name is Orphia and in today's video I want to give you tips and tricks for beginners when you start out wearing goth makeup. So these tips and tricks are all things that I had to discover over the years of wearing makeup. Sometimes it went fairly easily, sometimes not as much, so in today's video I want to share my best tips and tricks with you. In this video I will have 3 chapters that you can easily find in the description box of this video, or you can keep watching everything. First, I'm going to talk about the eyes, next about the face, and finally about the lips. And of course, at the end of this video, I'm going to give a few general tips and tricks as well. So if you want to see specific chapters of this video, they are in the description box of the video, as well as all of the products that are currently on my face, so you can easily find them. But now, without further ado, let's get started. Now, the first thing that people ask me questions about are the eyes. The eyes is what I start doing makeup-wise as well. The first thing that I would highly recommend is using a eye primer, a eye base, when you start doing your makeup. Now, why is this so important? Because it will actually set your eyelids and set the makeup on it, so it will not smudge, will not slide around, etc. So the way I do this is I use a priming potion by NYX or a similar product by another brand. I use that first on my eyelid and then I set it with a nude tone, skin tone eyeshadow. I personally use So Goes My Nation by Notoriously Morbid. If your skin tone is different from mine, then feel free to look for another shade, but for me personally, it's always worked super good. And once you have done that, you can start playing around with other shades on it, and it will ensure that it sticks on your lids and stays a lot smoother all day long. My next tip is to not be overly occupied with all of the shadows and all of the things that other people are using. I started out back in the days with only a nude eyeshadow to set my eyes, which I only started doing later, and then a black eyeshadow. And at the early stages of doing makeup, that's literally all you need. A nude shade and then a black eyeshadow that you can blend into it. You can of course have white with it for the inner eye corner, as I have done today. And actually having a black eyeshadow, a nude eyeshadow and a white eyeshadow is what most of the time is all you need. For me personally, it is what I create most of my looks with. And then you can start, of course, looking around for fun shades, for things you want to play with. However, at first I would recommend using matte eyeshadows. I think over time you will find it very fun to start playing and experimenting with shimmer shades as well. However, do keep in mind that if you just use them the way you use matte eyeshadows, that it will not really show off as glittery or shimmery as you want. You will need another primer for that, a sticky base for the glitters to stick to and to really shine their true colors. Notoriously Morbid has the best one I have found so far. It is called Shadow Bind and it is a kind of sticky base. And I have made a video in the past about how to use Shadow Bind and you can see me using it in a lot of videos as well. And I will link them in the top corner of this video. Up next is mascara. Now I personally have a lash curler and I use a waterproof mascara, so I only wear that on most days. Now today I am wearing false lashes, but if you're starting out with goth makeup, this is not something that you really need to do. It's something that I only started to do after experimenting for a few years with makeup with half lashes. So if you want to start with false lashes, I would recommend either single lashes or half lashes and then gradually build up to full lashes as I am wearing today. These ones are by Notoriously Morbid and I will put the style in the description box of this video because I cannot remember the name by heart. And then of course the main element you see in a lot of goth makeup looks, but it is actually not an essential, is eyeliner. Eyeliner is something that I personally nowadays really enjoy wearing, but that in the early stages of me wearing makeup was not something that I was really comfortable with using. It didn't look good. So what I started to do, I started with a kohl pencil. So a kohl pencil that I put on my waterline and that I gently smudged out onto my eyelid near the base of my lashes. And that's actually how I started doing eyeliner with a kohl pencil. After that, I switched to doing that with actual eyeshadow. So I used black eyeshadow to kind of create the shape around my eye and started kind of doing a slight flick. After that, I progressed to trying to use eyeliners, and I have tried felt tips, I have tried brush tips, and I am personally most comfortable with brush tips because I have a art background and I'm actually used to painting with really fine detail brushes. However, for you, it could be a felt tip. What I personally recommend is looking into a formula that is waterproof and that is long lasting. So the Notoriously Morbid ones are extremely good formula. They are actually pretty hard to get off, which is an advantage in my personal opinion, and they stay put really well. So they don't smudge, they don't transfer, they just stay where you applied them. There's of course other brands of eyeliner that also have good products, but I personally would recommend first trying out a few ones that are not as expensive until you know what you like to work with brush type, so applicator type, and then decide what you want to invest in. And with the eyes also come the eyebrows. Now, I do not shave off my eyebrows completely. I know a lot of goths do, but I personally don't. I shave about half of my eyebrows, so you can see up to here more or less is what I shave off, and the rest I draw back on when I do my eyebrows. Now there are a bunch of different ways of drawing on eyebrows or filling them in. I personally like to use the powder method, so for my hair color black is actually a perfect match, so I just use a plain black matte eyeshadow by Notoriously Morbid to fill them in. Notoriously Morbid also has cream formulas that are the brow cremations, and those are specifically meant to fill in your eyebrows, and those are cream based. And if you buy them, you normally get a applicator brush with them, which is absolutely perfect because it's just the perfect size and perfect shape to really precisely draw on your eyebrows. And this also works if you completely shave them off, or this also works if you just want to fill them in if you already have, or if you still have eyebrows, because I know not everyone wants to shave them off. I want to at one point. I'm still gathering up the courage, but one day I will do it. Up next is the face, and as you can most likely tell, my face is a little bit paler than the rest of my body. That is normal because right now it's summer and I prefer using paler foundation because I find it prettier. So the first thing, if you want to do goth makeup, is not that you have to buy white foundation, you don't have to buy the palest foundation, just buy any foundation that you love the shade of. And the way that I test my foundations is on the inside of my arms. So mostly this side because here I have tattoos, so it's a little bit trickier to see if the shade matches or not. So I usually test my foundation on the inside of my arm because that's actually the shade that matches closest to my face most of the time. So once you have picked your foundation, I would personally recommend applying it with a damp beauty blender sponge or something similar. You can of course also use a brush, and I personally go for liquid foundations. You can get a very high coverage one, a medium coverage one, you can even use BB creams if you want. I personally find high coverage looking better on my skin because I do have some spots here and there. But I also feel that powder foundations cake up a lot easier on my face, so I prefer using a liquid foundation and applying it with a damp beauty blender sponge. And then of course you need to set that as well, so it doesn't slide around or create weird blotches, etc. I personally use the End Setting Powder by Notoriously Morbid. It is the best setting powder in my personal opinion, and I use a big fluffy brush to apply it. So you just take a little bit of the powder on your brush and then go around on your entire face to set the foundation. Now personally, when I do my makeup, I first do my eyes and then do my base. So whenever I get around my eyes, I can still correct anything that is underneath my eyes and use a little bit of concealer if necessary, but most of the time I don't. After that, we get to the fun stuff. We get to contour and highlight. The contour that I personally use a lot is Necromancy, and as you can see, I just apply it from my cheekbone towards the corner of my mouth. And if you create a fishy face like this, you will see the line form on your face, and that is actually the shape that I follow with my contour shades. Now, if you want to make a very sharp, dark, goth look, I would recommend using a little bit of black in your contour as well, which is what I have done today. So I've used Necromancy and then just the tiniest bit of Bloody Awful Poet because it tends to overpower it very quickly because it's such an opaque black. And contouring my face for me personally helps a lot with the shape of my face and also of my nose, because my nose isn't 100% straight, and by contouring it I can kind of trick people into thinking my nose is rather straight. So contouring your face is what shapes your face and creates depth, and then on the other side you have highlight, and that creates the high spots of your face. So I apply my highlight, which is Osteomancy for this look, on the heights of my cheeks, so on both sides, also on the bridge of my nose, and a tiny bit on my cupid's bow. The cupid's bow is something that I sometimes do and sometimes not do. Today it's very subtle and it just gently helps with pushing those features forward. So those are the best tips that I can give you for your face, is to look for a pale foundation if you want one. I would definitely not recommend clown-like makeup or really like theater makeup style white makeup. That's not something that I would personally do. And also I would look for a formula that matches your skin, and then of course set the foundation, use a contour and use a highlight. I personally don't enjoy using blush, but that's of course totally up to you. If you enjoy blush, it goes right about here, so in between the contour and the highlight is where you would typically apply blush. But I personally feel that if you wear blush, you look too alive, so that's one of the reasons I don't do it. And then finally, let's get onto the lips. Now there's a few important steps for me personally when I do my lips, and the first one is to prime my lips. So to use a good lip balm that will really moisturize my lips. And also because I personally brush my teeth before I start doing makeup, I will gently rub over my lips with my toothbrush to get any dead skin flakes off of it and have a more smoother base. So first I brush my teeth and go over my lips, or I even scrub them with a lip scrub. Then I will apply a Slumber salve or any other very moisturizing lip balm. Then I do the rest of my makeup. So what I would recommend when you're ready to apply your liquid lipstick or other lipstick is to take a paper towel or tissue and just blot off your lips so any excess moisturizing product is off of it and the lipstick will adhere perfectly. So most of the time after that, I will gently go over with my leftover foundation on my beauty blender sponge, and then I will apply my actual lipstick. Now with goth lipstick shades, you can go anywhere you want. This one is a gorgeous deep gray shade. You can use black, you can use red, you can use nude shades, you can use anything you want. What I personally did when I started out wearing goth makeup, and especially when it was like I was experimenting, I would either do my eyes very detailed or either do my lips very detailed. So I would either have a similar eye look to this or a black lip. I would most of the time at the start of doing it not combine the two because it was very overwhelming, especially to my environment. However, when I went to parties, I would go out like this. No problem at all. The thing is, if you start focusing on one thing at a time, you will get better at it faster. So I would recommend pick your favorite, just start experimenting, start playing around. So to conclude this video, there are no set rules for doing your makeup as a goth. You can experiment all you want. The tips and tricks in this video are the things that I have personally picked up over the years of experimenting with makeup and finding what I personally love. Now, I would highly recommend that you experiment, that you try and duplicate looks or try and be inspired from looks from other people. You can find a bunch of videos on the Notoriously Morbid YouTube channel with makeup looks that I have created over the past year, more or less, and I really hope that you get inspired by the looks that I create and by the looks that are on this channel. If you have any other tips and tricks that you would like to share, feel free to do so in the comment section down below. In the description box you will find all of the products that I've used on my face today that are by Notoriously Morbid, and with code ORFIA15 you can get 15% discount if you place an order. Of course, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe to the Notoriously Morbid YouTube channel for weekly videos by your favorite darkly inclined makeup brand. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week with a new video. Bye!